So we're going to take the example of number of babies in a family. Okay, there might be 0, 1, etc. And we'll drag and drop it down because it gets to quite a few. Okay, let's just do that. And let's say we have couples in general, some of whom do not have children. And let us say our sample space, and we're going to talk about how many there are. I want to keep track of how many there are, so I'm going to put a sum function here.
Oh, we're going to use all the Excel functions.
No, I'm just telling you what I'm doing because as it turns out, if you have access to Excel, some of the stuff will become a lot easier because you'll be able to see the patterns quite easily, and I'm going to show you an example of this as we go along. So let's say in our sample space here, if we've got 2, and then it goes, and then it starts to drop again, as would be the case. Okay? So we've taken 34. Now, in this case, the data is already grouped. If the data wasn't grouped, what we'd see is numbers that look like this. 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, etc. Right? There'll be just a whole string of numbers. So this is still one variable statistics, but we've grouped the numbers into a certain thing. Now what I should also do, and what you should always do, is to put here a heading. And then this one is often called frequency. That is how often the thing occurs. Okay? Now we're dealing with 17, so the first question is, how do I find what the median is? Any ideas? The median or the middle, so what child would that be? What? Yep, heard?
Isn't that where you take like 1 from the, you take the lowest number and then the highest number and then you keep moving inwards until you have like...
That's one way to do it, but it's harder to do it in that way because of there's all this group data. Yes, Henshaw?
If you did it in a stem and leaf plot.
You could do it in a stem and leaf plot, and that would work very well. And there's another one. Halving it, what would I be looking for?
The middle two numbers.
Middle two numbers, Tyler? Yep, that's a good formula. So, but essentially, you say to yourself, and I want you to understand the meaning before you look at the formula. So if you look at the number, it's 34. So half of 34 is 17. Now we know because 34 is an even number that it falls between numbers 17 and 18. Yes? So I'm going to look here, and if you look at the bit down here, at the bottom here, you will see it says sum. So I want to look for the number 17 and a half. So I go down there, 2 babies, 8. Oops. 2 babies, 8, 17. Okay? So in other words, the answer is somewhere between the end of 2 children and the start of 3 children. Right? So the median is 2.5. Now that's how you get silly statistics like people have on average 2.5 babies. Okay? Now in terms of average, how do you do it for 2 columns? I mean, not 2 columns, a frequency distribution thing. Birchie? Death. So what you do is, and this is the formula, you add up all the number of children multiplied by the frequencies. Okay, so I'm going to put here number times frequency. Okay? So in this case, I'm going to say that it's equal to this multiplied by the second column. So in this case, you get 0, obviously. And then if you drag and drop down, Henshaw, you get that.
Yes.
Okay? So in each of these, if I pick a random cell, it'll be the first column by the second, to multiply by the second column. Then the average is equal to the sum of all those bits divided by the frequency. So it's 101 divided by 34. And I'm just going to write that down, 101 divided by 34. Okay? And then I have to work out what that means, but that's okay. I can just do it in Excel, which does it for me nicely. Okay? So the Excel says that the average is 2.97. Now, how do I know I'm correct? And it rounds off to 3. How do I know I'm correct? Well, what I do is I take, there's also an average function. Okay? I'm not going to do that now, but that's the way you do for columned data. Now, if we look at mode, the last one is mode, which is the most popular. Which number of children is the most popular to have? 2. Right, because if we look over here, 2 over there, that's by far the most popular number of children to have. So that's the difference between mode, median, and mean. And all of these are called measures of central tendency. In other words, when we use the metaphor of a tent, and this number seems to represent like a tent in that starts low, it gets to some kind of peak, and then it drops off. We don't really care where the peak is, but it tells us where the representative number is. So if you look at this data as number of children, if someone says to you, about how many children do those people whom you asked have? Which people? The 34 people I asked over there. Well, you'd say, look, on average they have about 3. And so you could, with one number, summarize the data. Now, if the person said to you, what's the range of people? Like, most people, what do they have? Then you're talking about spread, which is the next little topic that we'll do possibly tomorrow. Okay?
Okay.